Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Passion Project, a weekly podcast brought to you by WHS Tech Crew. I'm one of your hosts, Derek, and I'm joined by Guru.
Hello.
This is a weekly podcast where we bring in a guest so they can talk about a particular topic they're very passionate about. It can be literally anything: cooking, aliens, banana peel collecting, or oil paintings of Amy Adams. This week, our guest is Gina.
Hello.
Okay, Gina, and what have you come to talk to us about?
Film editing.
Nice.
And
Not the
producing.
election?
No, I'm not very passionate about that at all.
Thank God. All right. But yeah, okay, so how long have you sort of been into like film editing, or I guess movies in general?
Well, it started about 3 years ago when I actually took a film camp because I'd always sort of enjoyed creative things like that. I used to really want to be a writer or something, but film was just a much easier vessel to be able to express my thoughts. And it was something that was really fun. I really liked the editing process, so I took some camps on that and made some films.
Nice. And is there any figure that sort of like fostered your passion, whether it be like a close friend or like an actual filmmaker?
Well, when I was little, I did used to always like to make videos with my friends, like, especially music videos and just funny things like that. Almost every time we hang out, we used to want to like create a small film of some sort. But I guess mostly it was just watching a lot of movies as a kid. My parents would always show me lots of movies, and I just really loved it. I loved film, and I loved finding interesting things to watch, and yeah.
Nice. This is going back way long back. Sorry. But do you remember the first movie you saw in the theater?
I don't think so.
Derek?
I don't even remember the first movie I saw in theater.
I'm
I'm sure you do.
I was 5 years old, and my parents took me to see King Kong, like with Naomi Watts and Jack Black. It was great. Definitely not appropriate for a 5-year-old, but when you get to see a 3-hour-long movie, and then in the middle of it, King Kong rips apart some dinosaurs. It's solid.
Awesome.
Nice. What are some of your favorite films? Or favorite films or films that showcase a lot of great editing?
I mean, I have a list actually, but not with me. I really like Donnie Darko. I like Fight Club. I really like Beira Mar, which is a Brazilian film. It's Such a Beautiful Day. I really like a lot of like Quentin Tarantino films are really good. I really like Gummo and Kids, and I think that's all I can think of right now, but...
Okay, and like, what is it about these films that, they stick with you so close? Like, why?
Well, generally I tend to like films that are dramas usually. I really like ones that kind of examine human character. Things that are like generally kind of more quiet without big action sequences. That's kind of not true of Quentin Tarantino, but actually part of the reason I like his movies is because even when he has characters who are like assassins or who are like, in a gang or something, he always includes lots of scenes of people just talking to each other and having very like real kind of like everyday conversations. And movies that, I don't know, kind of tap into something like that can relate back to human life and relate back to your life. Things like Donnie Darko and like more simple experiences played out in kind of like a beautiful way like that. I really, really love things like that, and I would love to make films like that are sort of simple and quiet but end up turning into something that's really meaningful.
Nice.
Gina, do you have any particular genres of films or movies that you like?
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to describe, but I guess kind of dramas and, yeah.
Any particular genre that you don't like?
Well, generally, I'm not always a huge fan of action movies. I think a lot of them are kind of cheesy nowadays, although there are a few great ones. I don't love mysteries all the time because I feel like they often, like, too much is put into leading up to the actual answer, and you rarely ever get anything that actually resonates with you, character-wise or story-wise. Most horror movies are pretty lame these days.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror either, but...
I mean, but there are some pretty good ones, like... We found some pretty good ones. Have you ever seen The Babadook?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know that movie.
Oh, it's so good, Guru.
Yeah.
You gotta
That was
watch
interesting.
I don't know. I just not a big fan. It's like, it depends on how you like define horror. Because if you look at like a sub-branch of horror of like psychological thrillers, like Silence of the Lambs or Shutter Island, those are technically like psychological thrillers, but still have, I guess, would fit in like the horror realm. And I love those movies. But then, I don't know, some recent like the whole found footage trend or like possession movies I'm just kind of tired of. But yeah.
Well, they're fun, but they're not like necessarily good movies.
Yeah, I guess.
Have you had any experiences with, on a small scale, making your own films for like school or like personal projects or whatever?
Yeah, I've made films at camp, and I have taken multiple film classes at the school, and that's been really fun. I'm also working on a project right now. It's a documentary project with the town archivist. It's a documentary about local residents and their experiences during the 1940s, and that's been really interesting.
And how long have you been working on that documentary?
Just for the past summer, we basically it was calling in a whole bunch of people and interviewing them, like as many people as we could find who experienced that. And then I've been going back and editing all the footage. And it's going to be shown this Friday at Veterans Day, but probably by the time anybody hears this podcast, that'll be over. But
Well, I mean, it'll still be put on like WinCam and stuff later on, right?
yeah, and there'll probably be ways to access it. It'll be on the YouTube channel. It's actually pretty interesting. A lot of the people had really, really interesting, incredible experiences. We actually got one guy who was from Germany and lived like in Nazi Germany during that time, and he had a lot of interesting things to say. So I'd recommend checking it out if you're curious at all about, the residents of this town and that kind of thing.
Also, the history of just so many veterans, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
What's the title of it?
I think right now it's just gonna be like Winchester, the 1940s, until we can something pretty standard until we come up with something better. But I learned a lot actually, like a whole bunch about what it was like back then that I just had no idea. Like all these details of everyday life and kind of perspective on from a foreign view too, which was really cool.
Nice. And like, how did it also sort of change your view on, I guess, because I mean, I haven't made a documentary myself. I know you go through a lot when you do the interviews, especially as an interviewer. And I'm just wondering for you, like, how did your sort of process change, or like over time, or your viewpoint on the subject matter itself as you were like collecting the interviews and like editing the movie?
Well, it's very important, I guess, to try to understand the individual experiences of people. I mean, a lot of people came in and kind of wanted to talk about broad things, like just generally like what they heard about after the fact, and it's kind of difficult, but it's much better if you can get people to sort of talk about how they really felt during something, because that's much more meaningful to watch other than hearing like statistics or like things that anybody can Google on Wikipedia. To try to get people to really talk about, what scared them, what made them happy, what made them grateful, and like how they felt about what was going on and how it affected the people around them, and like the personal relationships that they had. And some of it is really beautiful, and people talking about like the unexpected friends they made during World War II and the people that they missed and all of these things. It's really good to kind of go off of your plan sometimes, like even if you have a script. And I always had questions with me to try to just go off of that to get people to talk about something that means more to them.
Yeah, I agree. I had like a general set of questions, and I would always make sure just to be like, I always told people the interviews would go for like 20 or 30 minutes, and they'd end up going for like an hour just because I would think up of like 50 more questions throughout the course of the interview. But yeah, I agree. Like, even if you have like, I guess, sort of a guided question set, it's always better to just, if you have a question in mind, you just go forward and ask them just to have them like go deeper into the subject.
Yeah, for sure. And see if you can kind of like get them to talk about things on sort of like a small scale rather than a large one.
Yeah. Do you have any like crazy stories from making this documentary?
You mean like stories that people shared?
Well, actually, let's start with that.
Well, the German guy had some really cool things to talk about. Like the village he was in was actually bombed by the British while he was living there, and it's like you could apparently like see the planes coming, and he was just a kid, and like they would fly over all the time and would constantly like be dropping things. They had to basically run to the bunker, and he didn't really get what was going on. And I don't think his family was necessarily anti-Semitic, 'cause they lived further from like Berlin or anything like that, but he did live near a city, and apparently a lot of people just didn't really know what was going on. Like their family doctor was Jewish, and a few other people he knew, and they just disappeared, and he never knew if they like escaped or if they were taken away or what happened to them. But I do know that like he talked about how you basically like you couldn't get any information out of anybody, and if you asked anybody, like especially the police or the SS, like they would get very suspicious of you. So it's just something you didn't do. And he didn't really assume anything, but he assumed that the British were evil. But a lot of people still knew that Hitler was evil, and like just kind of had to keep their mouth shut and try to like hope to get through and hope to not get bombed. But that must have been something that was just really crazy to see for a kid, and especially to not understand it all. But I think he actually turned out to be a really good person. He ended up joining the Peace Corps and is very much like, he discusses like equality and how he really like hopes to create a better world somehow and stop like prevent wars like that in the future. So his story was very moving.
Well, what I intended to ask was if you ever had any like in the process of filmmaking, were there any ever like crazy things that happened as you were going along with the project?
One guy got kind of racist on us, but I edited that out.
Okay. What about like any other projects, film projects that you've done? Any like just fun filmmaking stories?
I don't know.
I had one lady when I was making Hyper who she agreed to do the interview, and then over the course of like a month I just kept emailing her of just like, oh, when can we schedule it, and then and then after a while she just stopped responding for I guess like 9 or 10 days, and then she finally gets back to me and it's like, I'm moving to Michigan tomorrow, I can't be in your movie anymore, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's the most recent one I can think up of.
Well, I don't know if this is like a good story to talk about, but my sister and I once accidentally like spilled a bunch of props while we were filming in Boston, like some broken glass and like some fake blood, and like we didn't know how to clean it up, so we just kind of left it there, and I feel really bad because to this day I feel like it looks like there was like a gang war or something, and like it was just us like filming a really stupid film, and it probably like really concerned us, like outside a bookstore too, but you know, that's just what happens when you're like trying to film things sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you have like a YouTube channel or like some other, I don't want to say social media platform, but somewhere where you put your films, or is it just for your own personal enjoyment?
No, mostly I just save them on my computer and stuff, and maybe someday I'll be able to use them. I'm like thinking of sending some to colleges and things like that, but and this one for the documentary will probably go on public access and the YouTube channel for WinCam.
Are you you're planning on majoring in film in college?
I would like to. Yeah. Well, I love the editing process, even though it's like the most boring part to some people. I love getting really into that and just being able to work on it for as long as I can and just make it like as perfect as I can till it really conveys an emotion that I'm going for. I think it's really, really important to like be very, very careful with all the details. Like anything else, like any other form of art. I love finding soundtracks. I love adding in sound effects. I love changing lighting and color and all of that kind of thing.
I especially think because editing is such because you think about it, like editing, it controls like the final output of your movie. So if you screw up on the editing, I mean, I would disagree with people who say it's boring, but it's actually very stressful, but fun. But if you like screw up, like if you forget like one shot, then you change an entire scene, or if you include an extra shot, then you may have ruined an entire scene or like made it better in some way, or like include an extra sound effect or something.
Definitely.
So I think like editing does so much to really, I mean, it's the compilation of everything you've filmed and like sort of the realization of your vision, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, things like lighting and music and all of those kinds of things can really just change the entire feel of a movie. I mean, like any movie that any of you have seen that you really enjoy, like I'm sure a lot of it comes from all those little editing pieces that someone did. I mean, like lighting can like, especially in like the color scheme, can make you feel so many different things, and choosing like the right sound effects and the right soundtrack can just completely like, it can make a movie really, really great, or it can just ruin something. So it's important to get it right, and it can be pretty difficult sometimes, but it's definitely really fun just to be able to see those changes occur and like see something go from something that kind of looks like a home video to something that feels kind of real.
I think I read a quote once from James Gunn, who, for those who don't know, he directed Guardians of the Galaxy, and he was talking about how he hates the actual filmmaking process, but he loves writing, so that's pre-production. He hates filming the movie, and then he loves editing, and I kind of just agree with them. I'm not sure how. What like do you have editing? Is editing? Would you say editing is like your favorite aspect of the whole process, or do you like filming or maybe like writing it more?
I think editing's probably my favorite. Filming can be fun, but that's also actually kind of stressful because you know, it's like editing you can spend time on, but filming you kind of have to get it right, especially if there are other people involved. Gotta get it right the first time as much as you can, and you never know like whether something will come out right or how it'll be. So that'll probably change, like, if you ever work, if, like, I ever work, you ever work on something that's, like, a legitimate project, but especially when it's, like, amateur filming, it can be kind of hard.
Derek, have you ever made movies on your own?
I haven't made movies on my own, but I actually have been in a project with Gina before where we made a movie for English class. And I helped with your
And the
one for
French
French
one.
class, yeah.
Yeah, Petite Prince.
Petite Prince. Oh wait, I saw that. I really like that
Wait,
one.
why did you see that?
Because I don't know, Emily sent it to me.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty good, right? He hasn't seen it yet.
You haven't seen the
I
thing you're
don't
in?
I don't ever want to see it. But Gina, when you watch like movies or documentaries or whatever, like in theaters or on the TV, do you ever like notice like special things they've done with editing or thought like, oh, they did a really good job with this or they could have done this better?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of annoying because now that I know these things, I feel like I'm always, like, picking up on them. Sometimes I just want to, like, it's actually harder to watch the movie because I'm always kind of, like, trying to get tips almost. Because I want anything I make to look better, but there's obviously always going to be, like, a gap between something we make here and, like, something that's in a theater. But it's, like, important to try to watch those things and, like, notice the things that they do, like, the way they use their camera or the way that they, like, pan over things and that kind of thing. But yeah, I try to pick on that to some extent, and sometimes I just pick up on it on my own. But yeah, I think that helps me actually, seeing things that other people do.
Or at least even, I mean, do you ever watch a movie just for the sake of just like, I wanted to, like I found this movie out that's like known for like maybe its cinematography or maybe for its editing, and you just like watch it just to like examine its like its cuts or like the way it's like filmed or like its acting or like whatever. Do you like ever seek films out just for those specific reasons?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and some of it's very, very interesting, but there's a lot of very professional things that I don't totally understand.
Like what?
Well, there are a lot of kind of camera tricks that some of them can get like a bit actually distracting, but there's certain camera tricks based on like perspective that I still would like to master. People do, like, obviously any aerial shots are kind of impossible for us, like crane view and things like that, which is a shame because I love shots like that sometimes, and it'd be really cool if we could do them somehow, but we can't. And yeah, definitely certain perspective things when people, like, a lot of professionals are really good at making certain parts of a scene look very small or very big, and I'm not as great at that right now, so that's something I would like to learn. I'd like to have more access to soundtracks, frankly, because we can't take anything that's copyrighted. It's also kind of a shame because sometimes you'll be filming something, you'll have like a perfect song in mind, but you can't use it.
Or just find someone to do it for you.
That's true, yeah.
Score it for you. So
So-
many very talented musicians in our school.
I mean, true, but how many are willing to make an entire soundtrack for
I
a
mean,
video?
a lot. I mean, depends on maybe. I think it may depend on like how close you are with them, but like,
And how much
or
money
maybe
are
how
Yeah.
interest. I mean, no, you don't have to pay them.
No, I know, but to a degree, like you and Victor are very close, and like Victor probably wanted to like have the outlet, like the official outlet for like his music and stuff. But to a degree, like if I were actually good at music, because I'm really not, and like I wouldn't say, oh, I'll never do anything unless you pay me. But if a not like a close friend, but if a stranger came up to me and was like, would you like to make me 2 hours worth of music for, no pay, and you had to do everything the way I say it, I'd be like, no.
Wait, also, are you like allowed to have them do like copyrighted songs, but like if they do it, then it's okay?
Oh no, that's still copyrighted.
Okay, so like
I mean, you
So
can
if you
get
like
a
original
license
music?
to cover a song.
Yeah, I know. It's like I mean, like
Still
with
money.
Victor made an original score and he performed.
okay. Wow.
He composed it and he performed it himself. It's like he has his own like recording booth and stuff, so he did it on his own.
Okay, that's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Victor's like,
Yeah, I know. Victor's like
intense.
yeah. But I mean, like if you could go to Victor if anything, or you could like not just Victor. I mean, I think there are definitely a lot of people in WHS, at least in like the music program, who would be willing to compose stuff.
Yeah, and I mean there are definitely like websites to go to and stuff. Like there are huge archives on the internet of uncopyrighted music, but
Yeah, I mean thewolfmusic.com is like a great
Yeah.
a source for like all that uncopyrighted music.
yeah, I was browsing that until we started this actually.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, what I do sometimes is like, I mean, I agree. I'd love to have music from actual movies to put in my thing.
Yeah.
But then like, so what happens is like I'll find actual scores that I want to use, and then I'll just go to the Wolf and like find the closest thing to it, and it actually ends up working out sometimes. But
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely spent a lot of time on that website trying to find something like that works for what I'm doing.
Yeah. For anyone who uses though, just be warned. All the artists on that site, for some reason, they love to use synths and dubstep.
Yeah, oh my god. Like something will be so good up until halfway through and like the beat drops and you're like, I'm doing like a documentary project. Like they're talking about like the war. Like I can't do this.
That'd be interesting though. What if you actually did do that?
That'd be really bad.
I think that'd be cool.
What if they're like talking about like losing a family member and like the beat drops?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man.
No.
Wait.
know.
Okay.
If they
Honestly,
were talking about something other than a family member dying, maybe.
I would just maybe fine. Maybe
Talking
not.
about like ration books and like the synth startup, like for sure.
Okay, fine. Maybe not death, but still, I would just love to hear like a dubstep in like a documentary.
I mean, okay. I'll think about it.
Gina, what are your biggest pet peeves when like you see like the way something's edited? Like, are there ever like little things that really tick you off?
I guess like transitions are done badly so much of the time, even by professionals, like between multiple scenes. Especially when people do really like short transitions. That can be like super abrupt, and I wish people would do those better. I think that actually a lot of even professional people don't use great soundtracks nowadays, which is a shame. Like there's a lot of really good soundtracks, but
And I saw an interview with what's his face, Danny Elfman, who's a great composer. He works a lot with Tim Burton, and he was saying in this interview how like nowadays a lot of directors, they don't want like the music to be heard in their movies, just so like, you know, because it kind of just adds like the realism, like as in like it just, the music kind of just blends into the mood and like
True, but like we were talking about, or like Gina was saying earlier, there's so many little things like the lighting and like.
Oh, no, I don't
music or whatever that
agree.
Change.
I don't agree
yeah.
with those directors who tell composers like Danny Elfman to do that, because I agree. Like I think a good score can really like enhance a movie so much.
yeah.
It's
So-
like the whole thing where if you were to watch like the average horror movie on mute, like it
Oh, yes.
would be way less scary.
Yeah,
It
sound
would
does
be
Yeah.
so much in
a
a
little
horror
scary,
movie.
but like
yeah. Any other pet peeves other than I guess scores?
I think a lot of editors are afraid, or like I guess producers are afraid to put in too many kind of like establishing shots or lingering shots, which also I think can actually really add to movies when it's done right. Like a lot of movies nowadays are very, very quick, like very fast paced, kind of like just like action, conversation, action. And I think that like more movies could stand to put in more like slow shots or like establishing shots of actors and panning shots and that kind of thing. I think that could really add to movies, but
Yeah.
yeah.
what is your ideal position, and in a sense, like what is the ideal movie that you could or would work on in the future? Like what is the subject matter that would interest you the most, and what is the job that you would most like to have in producing that movie?
Well, I think I would really like to do some sort of story, and it could be something that had some action in it, but wouldn't be a total action movie. Something, I guess I would really love to work with cameras and partially like be a person who gets to decide what sort of shots they should do, and I wouldn't necessarily be like a director, but someone, yeah, like the camera person and
Like the director of photography.
yeah, exactly. And I would like to do editing. And definitely, I would definitely be willing to collaborate with other people on that. Like, I don't think one person ever edits anything, but, you know, work with a team of editors to create something. I guess that would be a position that would really interest me.
And then is there any particular, would you want to like, when you say like story, do you just mean like in terms of genres, would you want to go specifically for dramas?
Yeah, I guess so. And I would be willing to work on certain kinds of action movies as well. Definitely. I think there's like
Yeah.
there's a lot to do in that field.
To go with do what you were saying about sort of like the close cuts and stuff, I think especially a lot of action movies suffer from that, because they sort of just take it from like the Bourne movies where it's like all super quick cuts and a little bit of shaky cam, and it's like really super close and intense, but you don't understand anything.
Yeah.
And that's why I like in action movies when they actually have, as you were saying, like these wide shots and you can actually see everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one pet peeve I have in action movies.
Yeah, just like occasionally take some time to like show something else. It'll help people remember the movie, honestly.
Yeah. Is there any director or actor, actress that you would want to work with in the future? Or even
Like,
now?
Out of anyone?
Yeah, out of anyone.
Like in the whole world?
Yeah.
Well, I really like Eva Green as an actress. I think she's a really, really good actress. I think my favorite actor is probably like Norman Reedus. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you cast Derek in a future movie of yours?
oh yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh,
It's
why?
first on my list.
I can be what's
What
oh
if you
gosh,
actually
what's-
made a feature-length adaptation of Petit Prince and just...
didn't Netflix do that with like a half animated?
Oh yeah,
half-
they did
Yeah.
actually. Just do
But
it again.
was it good?
It'd be kind of hard
I
to do because half of it takes place on various planets
That's
in space,
irrelevant. Just
I
go
would
for
Green
it.
screen.
I would go for
green
it.
screen everything.
but Derek was ready, yeah.
Gina, in your opinion, what is the ideal length for a film? Because I know that in the past, I always thought the average was like an hour and a half, and even then, that was like an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half. And now more and more, there's movies that are 2 hours or 2.5 hours long.
I kind of think it's probably an hour and a half, like unless you really can't do it. Because from what I've found, the majority of movies that are 2 hours or 3 hours kind of end up being very repetitive and redundant, and like it's just really hard to watch a movie for that long, and it's hard for people to enjoy a movie for that long, to not get to the point where they're kind of waiting for it to be over. And there are a few exceptions to this, but for the most part, I would say that an hour and a half, or maybe like between an hour and a half and 2 hours, is a good length to keep it at if you want people to still be like enjoying the movie by the time it's over.
I agree with that. Especially, I mean, I'm someone who I like longer movies. But that's just like, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I would agree. I think 90 to 2 hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours.
2 minutes exactly.
Yeah, 90 minutes to 2 hours would be like not exact, a good length, especially for comedies. Like, a comedy cannot be over 2 hours long or even 2 hours long. Like, because of the jokes, as you would say, they'll get repetitive or stale.
I think
Yeah.
the only movie that I've really genuinely enjoyed that's been over 2 hours long is like that's what it's called, right? Interstellar.
Interstellar?
Okay, I forgot. if
Not
that was what it's
Inception?
called. I'm sorry. Well, how long was that?
2.5 hours.
Really?
Yeah, it goes by
I
at a
mean,
quick pace though.
sure, that too. But I also think it's interesting to see how TV shows too have gone from being 30 minutes to like 45 minutes to fill up an hour block to now that they're like on places like Netflix and HBO,
Yeah.
like an hour long episodes, an hour and a half.
Especially
long
because
episodes.
like TV shows nowadays, I would say they're structured like movies. Just like, I mean, Netflix, they
Like
release like
mini
what?
movies
Yeah,
altogether.
like what 10 episodes for a Netflix show, but they're like 10-hour movies in a way. So I think that's kind of interesting how even, I guess, on the flip side, movies themselves are becoming kind of episodic, especially when you have like the shared universes and stuff, or just all these franchises.
Yeah.
Especially like a good example, like Marvel. Their movies kind of feel like episodic, almost like a TV show, but it's in movie form.
Yeah, and TV has gotten so much better. I mean, most TV shows nowadays are like movies. I mean,
Yeah.
look at like popular TV shows, like they're produced so well. Things like Game of Thrones, like that's like a movie, but like
Yeah.
per episode.
Even smaller
And,
shows.
like $3 million.
Yeah.
every
yeah,
episode.
exactly.
Even like the Flash or Arrow on like CW, which is a much smaller network, but the visual effects on those shows are great. Actually.
Yeah.
So
So that's really cool.
What's your opinion on, like, I mean, first of all, I think it's interesting to note the difference between, like, books and movies, where books are something that can take a different amount of time to read for each person, and they can, like, have as many sequels as they want, and it only costs however much money it takes to put it on paper. But now that, like, more and more, I hate to say it, but we don't get as many original movies coming out anymore. They're, like, remakes or based off of
I would,
other things.
argue
And,
with
yeah.
that point in that I think I agree there are definitely more remakes or sequels
Yeah.
happening than ever, but at the same time there are more original movies happening than ever. It's just that a lot of people just don't go see original movies anymore, which is kind of, I think, because if you
True.
think about it, you have
It's
to
the safer play to
It's-
make a remake of something you know people are.
yeah, eventually, I mean, even for like an audience member, you have to think about like ticket prices these days are so high that it's just unreal. Like especially for
shame.
like someone who's like nowadays, it's like if a family wants to go like see a movie, they have to buy tickets for everyone, and they also have to buy like concessions and stuff. And it's also like think about
You don't have to buy.
I mean, like,
if
but-
your mom has a big purse, or you have a hoodie.
actually to be honest, I sneak in food all the time. But
everyone
I'm just
does
saying,
that.
I'm just no, I'm just saying.
Who's
let's
gonna
say-
pay $4.50
I'm
for
just
a Kit Kat?
let's
bar?
just say let's just go about the general example, Derek. Let's say, and then you also have to think about like you have to schedule off a time of day for you to go to the movie, to go to the theater itself, and then the movie plays for like let's say 2 hours, and then you have to come all the way back home. So that's like you have to block off basically a whole day just for that.
Especially now that it's so much easier to pirate
Yeah.
or stream something you want.
Don't pirate things. But still, I understand that it'd be better for people to just be like, I want to go see a movie that I know I'm going to enjoy. especially I think that's why sites like Rotten Tomatoes are so popular these days, because like if it has like an 80% or something.
Who's that one guy
Yeah.
that? Sorry, Gina. Everybody wants to know like what his rating is. Something. It's like one individual person. He rates it out of like 5 or something. It's like what? Like when you look at Roger Ebert or something.
Oh yeah,
like
Roger,
that.
he died.
Oh,
Yeah, he died like a few years ago. He rated them out of 4 stars.
4 stars, right? Because I would always see it and I'd be like, who is this guy and why does everybody care about?
He's a
his
legend. He's
personal
actually
thing?
like I love reading his reviews.
Okay, sorry, Gina.
But
Yes.
getting back to what you're saying, I'm not a huge remake and sequel person personally. I think that original movies are generally better, and there are some good sequels, but most of the time they're just kind of like they come out with them because they know that people will see them, like you said. Like it's
It'll
kind
make
of to
money.
capitalize as much off that as possible, and there isn't really like a lot of heart in them. People don't really bother to try to make them kind of good movies on their own. And I think by that same kind of like discussion, like I think that a lot of movies these days are kind of like ruined by like people trying to capitalize off like trends or like things that people assume, like they'll like do like experiments and like, or like what's it called, like statistics, like I don't know, they'll do studies, that's what it is. They'll do
Yes.
studies and try to like base it all off on that. And I think that's really stupid because like a lot of movies that come out nowadays are like a lot worse because, you know, you have things like Emoji Movie because people assume that's like what teens are into, or like
Yeah.
And
like
they,
Or
one
the
of
Angry Birds movie.
or like Suicide
follow
Squad, which
forms.
was
Yeah.
like one of the biggest flops recently, is
It
because
was
like
not a flop. What are you talking about?
well,
I mean, a
everyone-
critical flop, but not
yeah,
a commercial
critical
flop.
But like part of the reason for that was because like I guess they heard that their last movie was too dark or something, and people
Yeah.
like Deadpool, and they're like, oh, we need to make it funny. So like 2 months before it came out, they like really quickly went back and edited it. It was originally supposed to be like a really dark movie to try to make it like funny and colorful, and it just like it was terrible. And I
Yeah.
think that like people need to care like less about the studies and just try to make like genuinely good original content.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, you can't blame them just because like Hollywood at its heart is a business, and they'll
Yeah.
always care more about. I mean, granted, the only way I think what would be nice though is if they kind of understood like if you make good movies, you'll make usually you'll make more money because like you'll get like repeat views and whatever. But like
And-
yeah,
And
I
I
think-
think that. Sorry, go ahead, Gina.
I was just say I think people genuinely like good content. I think the audience recognizes good content, and it's not so much about like the specifics of a movie necessarily, or like what kind of movie it is, but just what is genuinely like well created. I mean, just like when you look at the things that have been popular recently, it's so all over the place. But
And I think that's why like indie movies have been on the rise recently, and you see big stars starring in indie movies because it's like the question of mixing art and business, because movies and films are an art.
or even
It's an
like
art
a
form.
lot of big stars coming to TV shows.
Yeah, and like you kind of don't see it as much with other forms. Like you see it with books, like classic romance novels that are just like churned out and like put on like stands in like CVS or whatever. But like even then, you still see, you know, even when there's really good books, they have to go to a lot of publishers or whatever. But I think with movies especially, it's a problem. You know, when someone will come out with a good movie and they'll say, this is a good movie, and they'll say, well, great, because it made so much money, we want to make a sequel so we can make more money. And even if they're like, no, like, this was its own thing and it's good, it's like, oh, you have to make another one for money. And I think that's why, like, a lot of the times we're seeing more and more things, first of all, on, like, Netflix and HBO that don't really rely on showing in theaters to make money, and things like indie film, like I said, indie films showing up more and more.
Yeah. Oh, I had another point, but I was gonna say though, when you talk about like good content, I don't trust the audience as much,
okay,
especially because like look at this past summer, there have been some big movies that are like original movies, like The Nice Guys with like Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, or Kubo and the Two Strings. Both got like immensely like great reviews, and they both flopped the box
well, I
office.
think part of that is just like people hearing about them. I mean, both those movies I feel like I heard like nothing about, and there's some
Yeah,
movies
Kubo
that I
and the
heard.
Two String, that it was like never heard about it. Oh, there's like 2 commercials on TV. Never heard of it.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I saw way
Yeah.
too many
There
commercials
have
for
been-
both those movies.
Like, there have been like some movies that were terrible that I feel like I heard about like every day for months. I think a lot of it's just publicity, frankly. Like those are movies that I honestly probably would have gone to see if I'd ever heard of them. But
Yeah, and people don't go to the movie theater and then see what's happening. Like, people don't go to the movie theater and say, I wonder what movies there are. They, like, look up a movie and say, I want to see this at the theater, and go to the theater to see that movie.
Really?
A lot of people do.
Really, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like a
Because
lot
like,
of people.
what do you do if you go and you're like, oh, this movie looks interesting, but it started 30 minutes ago, or it starts an hour?
I feel like a lot of people go to the theater first, and then they're like, "Oh, I want to see something
I never
now."
do that. You can just look it up online.
Well, I know, but I feel like I know.
Well, Guru, you're also weird.
Well,
Not bad weird, but like you are particular about, not particular, but you are the kind of person who would go to a movie theater and say, I'm gonna watch this movie.
oh, no, I looked them. No, I looked them up beforehand. I decide like, oh, this day we're gonna go watch this. I'm just saying, I thought it was like general populace. They'll do the other way around, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe there's some study for that too.
And I
But-
think there is also, because the movies are longer, it's like, oh, want to see a movie? Oh, well, it starts at 9, it doesn't end until 11:30, and you have school tomorrow. Like,
Oh, that's irrelevant. I went to go see Doctor Strange the other day. It started at 8, and I got home at like 10:30. So, just saying. Still watch movies, guys. Still watch movies.
You go, man.
Yeah,
Fight the good fight.
yeah. Watch as many movies as you want. When's the last time you saw a movie, Derek?
ooh. I mean, actually, I think it was. I actually don't like to watch movies because I cannot sit still for an hour and a half.
Can you sit still for 4 hours of TV?
No.
Okay, good.
I can't. But like, if I watch a movie at home, I'm fine with that because I can pause it like every 10 minutes and do something. But like, the only time I can sit still for an hour and 30 minutes is at the theater because I paid $13 to watch it, and they're not gonna like rewind it if I'm like,
Yeah.
wait,
Yeah.
I have to go to the
I
bathroom.
hate people who are like, I'm not you, but I hate people who are like, oh, I can't watch a movie for 2 hours, but I'm willing to sit down on Netflix and binge watch a TV show. That's hypocrisy.
I do that.
But like, what? No.
But Gina also can sit down to watch a movie.
Yeah, you can sit down and watch movies.
Yeah.
But, so you're not one of those people. But there are people who like, I hate movies, but I love watching TV shows. That doesn't make sense to me.
Anyway.
When's the last time you saw a movie,
Yes.
Gina?
Probably like a week ago.
What was it?
Wait. I mean, I watched The Minority Report recently, but I think there was another one I recently watched. Oh, I just watched Lost in Translation like last week.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice Bill Murray classic.
My sister's a big film buff in a sense, although she mostly likes horror movies. But we watched that movie Joy that with like Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah,
I
I
think,
didn't
and
watch
all those
that.
people.
That
I
looks
actually
really
thought
bad.
it was pretty good, even though I left for like the middle 40 minutes as usual. But I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying, but it's for me. If a movie like doesn't glue me to my seat, like I'll get up and move, or like I don't know.
I think that's how I feel about TV shows. If a TV show doesn't interest me in like the first 2 episodes, I just give up on it.
So do you have
Really?
like any favorite TV shows?
I know I do. Like I used to watch Breaking Bad, and right now I watch Arrow, Flash, like all the DC shows, and then *Halt and Catch Fire* on AMC, which is a criminally underrated show. But yeah, what?
I really wanted to like Breaking Bad, and I do, but I could never get past the filler episodes because
What filler episodes?
I feel like
There
half
are
of the
a few.
episodes are filler, and I'm like, I
Nah.
can't. This is not
love-
interesting.
And the
Like,
first
I
season,
can't
he
sit
like
through this.
quits and like rejoins the meth business like 17 times, and it's like,
That's
What?
true.
make up your mind, man.
I mean, I only watched until like 2 episodes of the second season because I was like, I can't do this. But
It's a pretty dark show, actually.
have
so
any of you
good.
seen Westworld yet?
No.
I've heard that's really good.
Oh, it's so.
I have a
good. I'm not
friend-
really into TV shows, but it's really good.
No, I have a friend who like raves about that. He raves about that and The Walking Dead constantly.
Oh yeah, I just started The Walking Dead actually.
Do you like it so far?
I do. I'm already
Okay,
on
what are
season
your
3.
favorite TV shows or Netflix, HBO, whatever shows?
They're all
So-
TV shows.
Yeah, I like that
Are
one.
they really? If they aren't on the that begs the question: are they still TV shows if they like? If more people watch
Well, I
them on
think
a laptop or something than
I-
on a channel
I mean, that's fine.
on cable?
I mean, sometimes I don't.
I mean, I think it's fine, but like, are we gonna keep calling them TV shows, or will it be a day in
I-
the future when we
I
call
think
them,
because
like,
the definition of TV has sort of changed. And so it doesn't matter if it comes on the TV, but just sort of the way it's like structured, like
Oh,
in,
like,
in
what
like
even is
it's
television?
episodic in
Yeah.
that way.
what?
What even is television?
I don't know,
What
but
even-
like,
what even
I'm
is
scared.
movies?
Like, you know how on the phone, like on the iPhone, there are like little kids who are like, "Why does the phone symbol look like that?" Like, is there gonna be day in the future when they're like, "Why do you call it a television show?" Like, this is like a
I mean,
computer. I don't know.
really hope not. I am actually. I'm
weird.
afraid for. Actually, this is a topic into later. But like, yeah, you're talking about TV shows.
Oh, okay. I like Game of Thrones a lot. Just, I guess that's kind of typical. I liked Breaking Bad. I liked Orange Is the New Black. I liked The 100. I like. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a good one.
I love that show.
I liked Misfits, which is this British show. I liked Skins. Another British show.
Did you watch Sherlock?
Yeah, I used to watch that.
Yeah, I have a friend who still gets mad at me because I haven't seen it yet, and I'm telling him I'll get around to it.
Yeah, dude, that was like 5 years ago.
It's still going on, don't they?
6 years ago.
Why aren't they coming out with like a fourth season too soon?
Well, I
I
mean,
don't
Doctor
know.
Who's been going on for like technically like what, like over 50.
Yeah, I know,
years,
but like
so-
Sherlock's different because it's like they only have like what 2 or 3 episodes per season.
Oh no, yeah, but
Oh wait, actually speaking of television, The Simpsons was renewed for 2 more seasons.
Good
So
for
now
them.
it's the longest running TV show.
I know, but I always found that like they just don't know when to like that's a problem when you mix art and business. You don't know when to kill something for the sake of the art or like. But I mean,
Supernatural.
sometimes you can get really interesting things. Like apparently there's a German it's like I don't know if it's like a soap. It's like a show like that, but they literally have an episode every single day, and it just follows them through their life, like every single
Yeah.
day. Like, oh, this
No,
is gonna happen on Thursday, and then on Thursday's
that's what they
episode, and
do
it's like-
in India. In India, all their TV serials are literally like, it's like an episode every single day, and they usually take weekends off. So it's like Monday through Friday. There's
But,
always
like,
a new
then it's
episode,
weird 'cause
and then
it's like if you want to catch up with it, there's 1,000
I
episodes.
know, and then
good
there's
luck.
there's
Yeah,
like the
damn.
seasons will go on for like thousands, not thousands, but like hundreds episodes. They'll cap off at like 1,000 something or something like that,
Can
and
they
they'll go
really
on for
be, like,
years.
Good though if they have that little time to prepare.
I mean, like it depends on if you're into soap operas or not, because like at least Indians, at least the Tamil serials are like they get really intense at times, and other ones are just like crap. But that's you can say that about the American serials too. So oh, you guys keep talking. I need to get the charger.
Okay. Guru's phone is dying.
No, I mean the laptop charger.
Oh, the laptop's dying. Well, whatever. Okay, Gina. What would you say is the most? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into making like a movie good, but what would you say is the most important part of that? Like, is it explicitly the content? Is it something to do with like all the editing and production, or is it like the actors and stuff?
I guess at the end of the day, it's probably a lot of production. I mean, like the actors and the script and the actual content of the film is very, very important. And I mean, I guess like, yeah, if you can create a story that's good and the actors are talented and they can portray that well, you could still probably make something that's pretty crappy, like kind of home video style, and still have it be moving if that's what you were going for. But that being said, I still think, I mean, it's all very, very important.
Okay. What would you rather like working on a movie in the future rather work on like a huge blockbuster that has like major stars or whatever, or like a smaller one?
I mean, honestly, really, I'd be okay with anything. Like, the film industry's very tough, so I don't think I'm gonna be, like,
Picky.
famous in Hollywood,
Yeah.
but, like, I think I would be happy to work on anything that I felt was just, like, really genuine work that other people felt like they kind of put their heart into and that other people cared about. Even if it was pretty small, I wouldn't really mind if it was just, like, little indie films or whatever, just as long as I could work with a good team.
I think, at least, and also I think you're saying about at least towards the end was just giving people that experience, like an amazing movie experience, or like sort of making them like feel something out of your work.
Yeah, because I mean, some of the best movies out there are movies that like 5 people in the world have seen, but are just like someone really like put a lot of time into and ended up being really good.
You know what makes me sorry? Are you
What?
done?
Yeah, you can go.
What makes me really sad? There's like nowadays like people will like obviously cut things out of a film, but like they still have the actual footage or like they have backups or whatever. Back in the day, like movies that came out in the like 20s and 30s, if they were like, okay, you need to change this because we can't put this in theaters, or like, okay, we don't want this or whatever, or like it just wasn't very popular, like there are times where we've lost the film. And, like, we know the plot, we know the actors are in it, we know all the stuff about the release, but we just don't have the actual movie. And that makes me really sad, because it's not even like, oh, well, we can't find it, but it's out there. It's like, it's literally just gone forever. And, like,
sad.
there's so many movies that I'm like, I want to see, but I can't because they don't exist anymore.
I read an interview where like Mel Gibson said, if you ever seen Braveheart, if you haven't, you should. It's a masterpiece, but it's like a near 3-hour long movie, but it's like amazing. And then apparently Mel Gibson, who's like the director and star of that movie, he there's a whole extra hour that is not in that film that is just on some cutting room floor somewhere.
Damn.
And I'm just like, I want to see that.
Yo, speaking of missing footage, like the moon landing.
True though, but or well, no, I'm not gonna go into that. But
Wait,
then,
what was it?
No, I really can't talk about it. But like then there's, but like now, like we see more and more frequently, like a movie comes out and there's the extras of like extra stuff that, or like the like director's cuts or things where like you'll just watch the whole movie again, but it's like them talking about challenges or like things that happened while they were filming. And I think it's interesting because I think that people do have more of an interest in it. Like before it was just watch the movie, okay, done. But now it's like, what did like they do with this part? Like what did the actors think of it? What did the directors think of it? And like, I mean, you can even see like with the Twilight series, like you have one of the main actors hates it, and he like
Don't they all hate it though?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure they all hated working
Yeah,
that
like
movie.
near the end, I think.
Yeah. After like their paychecks were just like, oh, we don't get paid for like mega for this anymore.
But
Now we
like
can start
it
hating
sucks
on
for the actors too, because they're like, okay, we're just gonna do this movie, and then there's like, okay, we're gonna make 5 more remakes not remakes, sequels that ruin the original thing, and you're stuck. 'cause
Yeah.
you signed a
Now they're just all
contract.
like memes, basically.
Memes.
They're memes. They're
Oh,
such
you're saying
memes.
this? Oh, I thought you were saying they're gonna make a movie, and they're like, we're gonna make this movie a meme. Although a lot of people are doing that with movies now.
Yeah.
Gina, what's your opinion on that new movie coming out? Well, this doesn't really have a lot of editing in it because it doesn't involve shooting, but like Sausage Party or whatever, the
I
one
don't
that's
wanna
like
talk about
animated,
it.
but it's an adult
That
movie.
came out like
but
a
it's
month ago?
awful.
Wait, it came out in August,
don't-
Derek.
Does this matter?
I'm just saying. You're saying like coming out soon. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
I don't know. Maybe it already came out. I don't
Oh,
keep.
hey, I filmed that. That concert in the Commons.
Look, there's Gina's work right there. You can't see it because this is a podcast, but it's right there.
It's right there.
It's like less than 10 feet away, maybe.
Yeah, outside the podcast studio in the Windcam lobby, they have a couple of TV screens. Sorry, one TV screen, but a couple of they're showing all their different channels, and on one of them is a concert that Gina filmed.
Just watch all the time, and it might come up eventually.
Yeah, or go to the Windcam website. They probably have the times for there.
Gina, I know you like. Sorry, did I cut you off, Guru? Okay, I know you like filming and editing and stuff. Do you like acting as well?
I haven't really tried it much, but it's something that I would definitely be willing to try if I needed to and I got the chance.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, I don't. I take drama like in school right now, but I'm not a particular fan of acting, and I hate putting myself in my own work unless like I absolutely have to. It's just because I think like I don't know, I like to be behind the camera all the time just so like I think it just gives me like better focus or control over the whole movie.
Oh, you want to micromanage? No, kidding. I know.
Yes,
what you're saying,
Derek.
Guru.
That's exactly what a director does.
You don't trust even if you acted it exactly the way you wanted.
I
you'd
don't
be
trust
afraid
myself
that
to give
somebody
myself
else-
good direction.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I feel that too, actually. Like, especially if you're also doing all the camera work, it's easier just to have other people be in it.
Yeah,
Yo, how
I
long
mean-
have we been going for?
like almost 50 minutes.
Almost 15 minutes.
Wow.
I have to say, I enjoy. I'm not particularly good at it, but I enjoy acting because it's like. I mean,
I
I
thought you
don't
were pretty
know.
good in The Petite Prince.
thank you. If any agents out there, if you'd like me to be a part of your movie, my contact details will be in the description. No, I'm kidding. I've
I
had
totally
some,
misheard you right there. I thought you said Asians.
No, it's because I'm.
I was like, what?
Okay, we're cutting that whole part out. I have to say, I have done some editing before, not like anything like actually, like
yeah,
an
Derek's
actual
more
project.
of a Photoshop guy.
But okay, I'm much better at like art in the sense of like draw. I mean, I'm not good at it, but I'm better at it than I am at editing, which isn't saying much.
Movies are
Um,
also art.
But I do remember like editing like our English video and things like that, and it was
Oh
like
my
a
God.
5-minute video, and it takes like 2.5 hours to edit it. What?
I don't want to talk about that video.
There are so many people actually who they have never edited before in their life, and then they'll have to do it for a school project, and then they're like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun, we can do it in like one afternoon, and then they realize if you're not as experienced, you cannot do it like in like a matter of minutes.
Well, the thing for me, like editing for me, I find that even like the actual process of like I'm gonna cut this part and put this here is not bad at all. Like it's if you know what you're doing, it's easy. But then it's a matter of like but do I want to cut it at this part or this part? And, like, do I want to have the music fade in or, like, start here? Or, like, what effect do I want to have? Like, all these things. And then even though you're like, this is going to be so easy because I have all these clips and I'm doing a 5-minute video, it takes, like, so long to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it just depends, like, how much work you wanted to put into it. Most things you can get them, like, all in order and, like, kind of make sense, like, pretty fast, but they won't be very good, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I just realized we did 2 English video projects together. I just remembered that, sophomore and junior year.
Wait, you mean Catcher in the Rye?
Catch in the Rye and the
Frankenstein, yeah.
one.
That
The
was
Frankenstein
not
one was much easier because you sent me all the clips in order. That was a huge help, by the way.
good. Yeah, no
But,
problem.
Okay, this is real.
I don't recall
You never saw it. I left the room when they were showing it. I just stood up. I walked out the door.
No,
I
I mean,
waited
no,
2 minutes,
I'm
and
not
came back
talking.
in.
I didn't even take Brit Lit. I don't even know
I
what
know,
you're
but
talking
I'm
about. I'm
just-
talking
I'm
about
just
the
letting you
Catcher. I'm
know.
talking about the Catcher in the Rye video. That was not like. That was an experience.
Yeah.
Mm.
You
You saw it?
Wait, didn't
No,
you do the
I
same
was-
scene as us?
No. Oh wait, I think I
No.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in the other block for Pickett.
Yeah, other block.
He did, like, the same scene that we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was a lot more critical on ours because we changed some stuff. But
What
whatever.
did you change?
Well, for one thing,
I don't know where to cut this.
well, one thing. This is actually kind of like this can play into the episode. For one thing, we made the scene. We put the scene for people who've read Catcher in the Rye. It's like the scene where like Holden and Sally are like on their date and stuff. And basically, we made the decision of one. We had their scene happening, had their date happening like outside, and on a second thing, we kind of took a more dramatic route to it as opposed to like kind of making it like sort of like funny or just making Holden seem kind of like a wimp or like not a wimp, but like he's just annoying. But
Wow.
yeah, not a big fan of that book. But you know, she was just like, "Oh, you changed too much things from the book, and I'm gonna give you a lower
'cause
grade."
she probably thought that it wasn't a conscious decision to film it outside. She probably thought you guys were like, oh, it will be easier to film it outside or something.
Who thinks it's easier to film outside? There's so much
Okay,
wind
I
and
don't
horrible.
Actually,
I
yeah, it
don't-
always turns out worse outside.
Yeah.
I mean, true, but like I know that like we had our cool trick where we dimmed the lights and then we actually took the footage and dimmed it too. But like what I mean is you can take artistic license, but then it reaches the point where, at least in school projects, the teacher's like, this isn't artistic. Like, you could say, my artistic license says that this is taking place in the modern era, and, like, Romeo is wearing sweatpants and Juliet has, like, a turby twist on, and the teacher's like,
Didn't
the
they do
female
that
actress
in,
just came out of the shower.
that
and
Romeo
they
and
don't
Juliet
care.
movie with DiCaprio?
Yeah, but like,
That was so
I hated
So
that.
weird.
I hated that movie.
no, just like, was it Mercutio who was just, like,
On LSD the whole time? Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I kind of enjoyed it, but like it was
I
so
actually-
it was so different. Like if you acknowledge it as a totally different story and their names happen to be Romeo and Juliet, okay, but like
But they took the exact same dialogue in a modern. I like the original, like whatever,
it's
the
been done too many
1960 or
times.
70. Yeah, I agree with that too.
watch out for my World War II documentary, public access.
awesome, Gina. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for coming in
Yeah,
today. It
thank
was
you.
a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, guys. Well, this has been another episode of The Passion Project. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find out all our other episodes on there. And also follow the WHS Tech Crew on Facebook at WHS Tech Crew. And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at WHS_Tech Crew. Especially because next week is going to be the fall play. We're having a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for that. And, I'm Guru. Co-host over there is Derek. My co-host over there is Derek. And, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.